Just the other day, I had this kind of like big presentation for my midterm, for one of my classes. And, I was just getting like incredibly nervous. I was just in my head about everything and whatnot. And it's just like, I was like, oh man, oh, I don't think I have this, I don't have that. I don't think this is going to go well. And so, like, in the middle of class, what I did was I got up, I went to the bathroom, right? It was empty in the bathroom at the time. And I did some stretching, and I literally just shadow boxed, bro. Like, I'm being so dead for real. Like, I went to the bathroom, stretched, and did some shadow boxing, looked at myself in the mirror whilst I did some shadow boxing, stuff like that. And I didn't do it to the point to where it's like I started like sweating. I just kind of like, to the point to where I'm like, trying to catch my breath, or I'm breathing a bit heavier. And like I felt more awake. I felt more alert. I had like blood rushing through my shoulders, my core, my torso, my wrist. I had like blood going through my hips and everything. I just felt like more mobile and more present in that moment, and it really kind of brought my body and my mind to one, right? Because like I was saying earlier, I was just so up in my head about like everything, just thinking about this, thinking about that, and I couldn't like really be present at that time. And so me taking myself out of that situation and then just going and doing something physical really helped a lot, right? And like with shadow boxing, I kind of like have to imagine. So I'm using my mind. I'm imagining an opponent, or some type of objective at least, and then my body has to react to what it is that my mind is seeing. So that way, your mind and your body becomes one, right? Because when you're all up in your head about everything, you're not really connected to your body. You don't feel your body. You're not aware of your own body. But when you're doing something like shadow boxing, it's going to allow you to again like bring your mind and body together as one whole piece instead of two separate things, that exist outside of each other. And in regards to the presentation, like I crushed it. Like honestly, I crushed it. I did really well. And I don't use shadowboxing just for those purposes. Like the past couple of days, I've been staying up like really late, working on assignments, just trying to like make sure I get stuff done. And like if I'm getting tired, or if I'm getting like just exhausted of like whatever it is that I'm doing, I get up, start stretching a little bit, and I literally just shadow box. And it's like again, like I don't go until like I'm sweaty, or like until I'm like exhausted. I just kind of like get to the point to where I'm panting a little bit. And that's it. Just kind of like again, it like lights a bit of a fire in my belly, just gets blood flowing, and I'm like able to get back to what I'm doing. I haven't like really been shadow boxing for that long, really, only like a handful of months, and I'm like slowly like really starting to like it a lot. After this workout, today I did like 4 rounds of shadow boxing just because like I wanted to. I think it's like a very like useful thing, in regards to just like, when it comes to your imagination and creativity. And since it requires like literally no equipment, there are no like restrictions to it. Even if like you don't know how to like throw a punch, even if you're just flailing your arms, I feel like just getting that physical movement and imagining yourself kind of almost against yourself, like in a way, it's just something that is like just very interesting, bringing together like again your mind and your body, as one whole thing, as one whole entity, because those two things don't exist in any separate planes. They exist in the same exact plane, which is the physical world, and we have to find ways to connect them. And I feel like physical activity is a great way to connect it, right? So when I'm shadow boxing, like I'm thinking of like how I'm gonna throw punches, maybe what combo punches I can throw, how am I gonna weave, how am I gonna dodge, how am I gonna duck, how am I going to like get around my opponent, quote unquote, and like just to see things, right. It allows for like a lot of experimentation for me to just like, okay, I'm gonna throw like a right hook, then I'm gonna throw like an uppercut, then I'm gonna go throw like a jab or whatever. And it's fun, honestly. It's pretty fun. I've probably mentioned this before like on like a past video, but like it just makes me feel like an anime character. shadowboxing is like one of like the most fundamental ways of just exercising. Like you see it all the time in like anime. Again, like Goku does shadow boxing, Baki does shadow boxing, and it's just something that's like really fun. And I just really have begun to enjoy it. I can take it slow. I can speed it up. I can break things down to like a minuscule level. Like how like you might see like here through some rounds where I slow down a little bit and I kind of just see like, okay, let me throw this and then let me throw this and then I'll try and like speed it up, just to kind of see how it would go and flow. And with me doing shadow boxing like pretty consistently, I feel like I've gotten a lot better. Like my punches have gotten a lot faster, and I'm able to kind of free flow a little bit more. Right, I'm not really sticking to anything rigid. Sometimes I might like throw a kick, or sometimes I might start doing an elbow or something like that. I'm like literally just moving. I'm just moving my body, and it's allowing me to like kind of eliminate any distractions or anything that is hindering my ability to just be like in the moment. Yeah, and I just think that's very important. A lot of times, so like, like, so like one morning, I think it was yesterday morning, right? I was getting up, getting ready for school. I barely got any sleep that night before, and it's like cold and I'm just like frustrated, like, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff to do. I take a shower and I literally start shadow boxing in the shower, bro. Like the water is running down my back and I'm like literally just shadow boxing, right? Like some people will call that like fighting your demons, right? And it's like it's helped me like clear my mind. It helped me just kind of like stay focused, right? Because in that moment, in these types of moments, it feels as if it's like I'm kind of fighting against something, and actually doing, I guess, those physical fighting movements allows me to kind of like express it out and to just release that tension, instead of me like blowing up on somebody, or instead of me like quitting on an assignment or giving up too early or prematurely or whatever the case may be. It allows me to kind of like physically like actually fight through something, even if it's just a mental battle. And another example would be this morning, right? I Last night, man, I got an hour and a half of sleep, right? I was up to like 4 a.m. and I wake up at around 5:45, for school for my morning class. And it's like I don't know what like was going on, but like my body was not agreeing with my mind at all. Like my mind wanted me to rest, but my body was like, bro, I have to go, I have to get up, I have to do things, and they just were not in tandem with each other. So, like I got up, I moved around a little bit, and I put on my clothes and I literally started like shadow boxing like in the living room, like just for a little bit again, like I said, until I'm panting, right? Not until I'm like exhausted, not until I'm tired, not until I'm sweating, just until I'm panting, just getting some movement in. And again, like that warmed up my body, felt blood rushing through like every part of my body. And like after that, I wasn't doing any more of like that weird like jittery shaking that whatever I was doing this morning. Of course, I'm probably gonna have to just get a lot of sleep, just to make sure I'm not exhausted. I did take a nap earlier today, but of course it was like it was only like 2 hours anyways. But yeah, like back to shadow boxing, like it's just fun. It's just great. You can take it seriously. You can take it light. It's fun to like imagine an opponent and bop and weave. And once you kind of get better at like connecting punches and stringing together movements, you feel less like a dweeb. You feel kind of more cool, because it's like now you kind of know what you're doing, right? You're not like someone who's just kind of like fiddling around, tripping over your feet, forgetting which punches should come after another. This reminds me a lot of when I used to play like a lot of like fighting games. One thing I would do was like I would just constantly practice combos. Like I would always be in like the training stage of like a video game like Smash Bros or Street Fighter, even Mortal Kombat. And I would just like literally for hours and hours on end just do combos over and over again. I would do the same combos over and over again just to see if like, okay, how can I string this movement together? Can I add another movement and things like that? Which is gonna flow better? How is this combo gonna go up against this type of opponent or this character? And it was like, sure, like what use was that to me in like real life? Not much. Well, technically, maybe it is of use because in regards to me doing shadow boxing, I'm kind of applying the same exact aspects, but now I'm doing something physical, and I'm gaining something. I'm gaining something mentally and physically. So it's kind of like I've had the skill to kind of practice something when it comes to, I guess, being combative, or stringing together things in general, just with practice over and over repeatedly. And it's what allowed me to, I guess, probably be able to flow the way I am able to in shadow boxing. Now I'm not the best shadow boxer ever, but it's like I'm really starting to develop it. I'm really starting to figure it out really without like watching a lot of tutorials and videos and whatnot. It's more fun that way, and it's more creative because I get to have my own sense of agency. I'm not like watching a video and then the video is gonna outline whatever rules, and then now I'm like subconsciously following those rules, which is gonna make it less fun, to be honest. So yeah, I guess you would call this free flow shadow boxing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm literally just doing whatever it is I kind of feel like I want to do. And it's just something methodical about it. Just like, again, you're imagining an opponent or some type of objective that you're targeting towards, and you're practicing over and over and over again. You're throwing really only the same couple of punches, and like you might just throw a jab like 10 times in a row, or just jab cross, jab cross, jab cross. And it's like just something interesting about it, right? Just something, again, no equipment whatsoever. You don't need anything to shadow box. You don't need anything, and you can just do it whenever you want. I mean, you could bust out do shadow boxing in the middle of Publix or Walmart if you wanted to. And it's just like something so like calming and soothing about it, especially after I'm finished, because it's as if I've kind of like figured something out about myself, and I've like accessed this like new patterns of thought and new patterns of movement, of course, because again, it's like I said, it's like making combos, or figuring out combos in a fighting game, right? In order to do that, in order to figure out combos, you have to figure out the character, right? Not every characters are gonna have the same combos. And you yourself, you are a video game character, right? Think of yourself like that. You're a video game character, and you're figuring out which combos are gonna be best for you, and that's like literally what I'm doing here. And that's just like such an interesting like analogy in a way, because that's like exactly what it is, right? If you see yourself in the digital plane or like a fictional plane, and you kind of relate it to those type of things that you like, you're gonna be able to make much better connections, because you already find something that is maybe relatable towards you. Now, I don't play much video games now, but in general, it's like, at least that time wasted had some type of use, I guess. But like, I was just a kid, playing video games. So what? At least now I'm not like spending 15 hours a day or whatever the hell on Mortal Kombat or something. But yeah, like again, I'm here outside having fun. I'm sweating. I'm really pushing myself. I'm trying to see like what goes together, what works, what doesn't work, what is weird. Which movements are weird, which movements make sense. Just trying to see like if this punch followed up with this punch as fast as possible is gonna be like the best thing ever. It's so fun. It's so fun. Again, like I said, it's like figuring yourself out, right? And then figuring out like what works best for you, what movements of pattern work best for you, and just experimenting. It's pure experimentation, and it's like pure self-discovery in a way, right? Especially when maybe you kind of start like throwing in kicks and knees and stuff like that, and just different other types of movement, because like again, you're accessing the whole rest of your body, right? I might really only just be punching, and maybe like doing some elbows here and there, which is just going to use more of my upper body. But of course, when it comes to footwork, I'm still using my lower body, of course, to press into the ground as I'm like thrusting forward with each strike. Again, it's like, again, just complete awareness. You know where your feet have to go because you don't want to trip your feet over. You have to make sure you're actually bringing your foot off the ground and not sliding across the ground, which could lead towards like slipping and tripping up. And it's like, getting full control of your body, right? It's like how with calisthenics, right? It would be considered, accessing control of or mastery of your entire body. And I feel like shadow boxing is the same way, especially when it comes to the mind. A lot of cardiovascular exercises are very mental. Of course, we might feel like physical discomfort when it comes to like our joints and our hips and whatnot. But a lot of it is just mentally going through it, right? And with shadowboxing, you're mentally visualizing something that you are striking, and you're getting your body to connect and to respond to whatever it is that you are, mentally making up in your mind, which is just going to tie everything together. Peace out.